Alright, hey guys, Extra here, doing a video after a pretty long hiatus. Unfortunately, not recording this from my mum's couch, but what can you do? So I've been wanting to sort of talk about my thoughts on Smash Ultimate and the meta, and things about Australia's meta and so forth, and Australia's top players, blah blah blah, for a while now. I was gonna write up a big document, but I think when I write things, I tend to be a little bit too unlikable, to put it nicely. So I'm just going to try and, I don't know, make a bunch of videos and see how that goes. A couple things. I think some of these videos are going to be a bit more geared towards higher level players, but I think if you enjoy improving, if you enjoy thinking about the game, or if you just want to, hear my perspective and hear my thoughts, then you might get something out of it. Second thing is that my respiratory functions aren't too good right now, so I might have to take things a little bit more slowly, or maybe cut and just splice a bunch of videos, but I really don't want to do that because I kind of hate it. I just like to talk and do everything in one take, but we'll see how it goes. It'll probably be a little bit easier on me. So, yeah, I just wanted to make this video because, as we all know, the 6 Victorians made top 8 at both majors, and I saw a tweet from, I think it was Dags, and this isn't supposed to be a call-out thing, that was once the Queensland top level sort of gets experience at majors, then they'll be putting those kind of results up there, and they'll be taking names and stuff. And he's not wrong. Being inexperienced at majors makes things a lot harder, and all these Smash 4 vets, these Victorians, they all have a lot of experience. But I think it's kind of it's a very passive way of thinking about things, where you're relying on this very sort of nebulous concept of of experience, and not really thinking too much about what's happening in the game. It reminds me a lot of when people say that they just played bad. There's no such thing as just playing bad, obviously, you know when you play good and when you play bad. But you have to look at what's happening in the game and what's actually getting worse. And in a similar vein, you have to look at what is happening that these Victorian players, these Smash 4 vets, are doing that is getting them consistently into these top 8s. And I sort of just wanted to touch on the differences between performing at locals and performing at majors. Now, I think obviously you can have strong results at locals, and that will translate well to doing really well at majors. But there are obviously differences besides just the crowd and the nerves and, everything that goes along with majors that is obvious. It's a big tournament, it's a long bracket, so on, so forth. So the main thing that I think is an important concept to keep in mind is that at locals, you might be the player with the best movement, you might be the player with the best advantage state, you might be the campiest guy in the venue who doesn't ever go near the other person. But at majors, it's very likely, probably almost a certainty, that you will run into someone who is, if not as good as you at these things, the thing that you're best at, but they might be better than you. And that's a very, I guess it's a very humbling thing, I would say, is that this thing that you're known for being best at in your region, there's this other guy who is just who is as good at it as you, or even better. And when that happens, if you have put too many eggs in one basket, I guess you'd say, if you've crutched too heavily on this one thing, you do this one thing but you do it really well, and that's your thing, then once you get into these later rounds and you run into people who know how to counterplay you because they have the same style, or they're able to switch between multiple styles, or even something as simple as like them having a really strong counterpick character, then that's sort of when you see these players start to falter. And I think a lot of the ulti kids in Oz kind of fall into this, where they're well known for this one thing, but when you look at players like Strix, players like Razy, players like me, I guess, even players like Jono. With Jono, it's less obvious, but his disadvantage is very good. He's very hard to hit, and he knows how to switch up multiple styles. And so once you get to these players who have not just the really strong plan A, but the really strong plan B as well, that's basically what you need to work on. So performing well at majors isn't just about like getting experience in like playing like for a long time into bracket, stamina, eating well, so on and so forth. But it's about like the tangible concepts that will help you do well at majors. So yeah, that's sort of just what I wanted to touch on in this first video. I think a lot of the alt players, they're already good at what they do. Like, they're already very good at this one thing that they do. But once you sort of get to that higher level and you want to start pushing to be a top player, you really need to be a lot more well-rounded. Like, if you're the guy who doesn't approach, that's cool. But what if you run into a guy who is better at not approaching than you, and you just instantly lose? Because while they are better at not approaching than you, they also might have more experience in like being the one to put aggression on and actively like pressure the opponent. And yeah, I think that's where a lot of people run into strife right now. I think we have a lot of cool upcoming talent, and they just need a little bit more like direction in terms of like how to improve and stuff like that. And yeah, so I guess that'll be it for this first video. It was probably, I'm not sure if it was shorter or longer than I wanted it to be, but you know, it's just the first one back, and yeah, probably gonna make a bunch more. See how it goes. Alright, thanks guys.